Now let's look at how we can increment an ID automatically. So I have changed my data set a little bit, my records here. I've added another column, which is a column of an identifier, which is our primary key. So this column is starting from ID 1 going all the way up to 9, and we are making an increment going down. So if we are to add another user to our data, then our program should be able to count how many records are there, then it should be able to increment our record accordingly. In this case, if we are to have another record, then we should have a record which will be given an ID of 10 because there are 9 records. So this is something that you can use in your program. So let's just go through the program that is actually achieving this. It's the same program. I've just added or moved other parts and added the part which is doing the auto increment. We have our structure as before. Okay, sorry. We have our structures before. Then we have this method, which is a method for declaration. That I've changed here is I'm using fstream instead of ofstream. I'll show you the reason why. Fstream, of course, is used for both input and output. In our main function, we have 4 items that we want to pick from the user and save them in the file. The first one is first name, surname, sex, and grade. This will come from the user so that we can send them here. But this file has got 5 columns. The first one being the identifier. But in our case, the identifier will be automatically generated. So the user is not going to enter that. The user will only enter first name, surname, sex, and grade. So we are making a connection, or we are creating our object in out using fstream, and we want to have input from that and also an output which will be for the appending. And we are getting how many records are there using the function that we created in the previous video. We are getting how many records are there in our file before we add a new file. So like in our case, that function should give us that there are 9 records. So we'll get 9 records here. Then this function is what we have up here. So it's going to loop through up to the end of our file. Therefore, we need to clear anything that might disturb us from doing other operations on our file. So we are clearing everything, and we are putting our position where we would want to write using seekp. So seekp 0 end. So we'll take our cursor and put it at the very end for writing. So 0 end, then it will be here for writing. And we ask the user to enter the details. Enter first name, we keep first name, we keep surname, we keep sex, and grade. Then we are sending this to our input output object or input output stream, which is fstream. We've declared here. What are we sending to write there? We are sending the counter, which is of course the number of lines, which in our case is 9, plus. So we are incrementing this one from 9 to 10. Then we are sending it there. then first name, surname, sex, and finally grade. So this one is automatically incrementing the value. User is not entering that. Finally, we have the words your details are saved. So that's our program, and we can try with the some information that we can plan to enter here and see what we're going to have. So let's compile our program and let's run our program. We're going to have, for example, Zondiwe, Muhango, Mero, and let's just say 62. So it says your details saved. You can close this one and we can go to our file and okay, so it requires us to reload this one. Okay, let's just reload it. Yeah, so we'll have Zondiwe Muhango, male 62 added and has been given an ID of 10. So we are auto incrementing here. Okay, so that's actually how you can use an auto increment. This is just one way that we can do, where we are just counting the number of lines that are there. But another way would be, instead of just counting the number of lines, we would move all the way up to the last line. We would just go all the way up to the last line, and when we have reached the last line, we would want to read the first or the ID for the last line, not necessarily the number of records, but the last one. We are making an assumption that maybe we might have deleted a record in between. Maybe we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but we don't have 7. We have 8, 9, 10. So if we just count the number of records, we say there are 9, and it will give our next ID as 10, but yet one record was deleted. So another robust way would be to come all the way up to the last one, then read what's the ID for the last one, then increment that ID. So you can try that and see how it works or it comes out. And there are so many other things, of course, for the actual database, how the auto increment is done. If the last one is deleted and it was given 10 and it has been deleted and we add another one, then that other one is not supposed to have 10 because 10 was already used. It's now supposed to have 11, but we are not going that far. In our case, we'll just be using these simple things to actually auto increment. So you can use the algorithm that I've shown you, where you are just counting the number of records, or you can choose to implement what I've just asked you, where you come here and identify the ID for the last record, then increment it. Okay, thank you. So that's generally what we have, and I think this is enough information to help you get started. But still more, I'll try to come up with other videos just to demonstrate some more operations on files, because files is one of the important chapters, and this will help you to come up with better programs if you master files as you are waiting to be introduced to databases in the second year. So we may want to come up with other algorithms, for example, to make sure that our data or our records are displayed in alphabetical order or according to some other criteria. So we may want to come up with the sorting algorithm. There are many sorting algorithms. I'll demonstrate with one. I would want you to be comfortable or conversant with the 3 sorting algorithm. There's a bubble sort, there's an insertion sort, and there's a selection sort. I'll demonstrate using a bubble sort because it's very simple. it will be so easy for me, and you will be required to be conversant to try and be comfortable with the insertion sort as well as selection sort. Thank you.